Welcome back. We're looking down on Barcelona. We've just seen a terrific sprint finish. David Miller caught almost in sight of it. That was really sad. But the big god of thunder, Thor Hushovd, ripping the field apart. Let's have a look then at our Cadillac performance highlights. It was a busy old day again for the rides on the Tour de France, and for most of the time it wasn't even pleasant. This was the rollout with the principal leaders of the Tour thus far, led by Fabian Cancellara in yellow, getting the rollout neutralised. Then the flag comes down from Christian Prudhomme. The race is underway.
Every day, as soon as the race starts, the attacks come thick and fast, and also the crashes too. This rider went down pretty hard. This is Fernandez of Team Agritubel, but he was up and running fairly quickly. But I think probably the most important thing, Phil, was the formation of a lead group of 3 riders as this rain started to come down. Stéphane Ogier of France, Sylvain Chavanel of France, and of course David Miller of the United Kingdom and Garmin Slipstream. They were joined a little bit later on by a 4th rider, Ahmed Chiruka of Team Euskaltel-Euskadi.
The big prophet of the breakaway was to be Stéphane Ogier, who would be the new king of the mountains tonight. But look at this roundabout. We don't yet know how serious this was. But down on the ground there went Tyler Farrar. He went over the barrier, in fact, for Garmin Slipstream. And in fact, the most seriously injured, it appears, is there he is, holding his right arm or wrist, is Michael Rogers. And I don't like the look of that. I just hope he's in. We haven't seen him come in, and unfortunately we don't know any more just yet.
Another rider went down hard in that crash was Heinrich Hausler, the man expected to lead out the sprint for Thor Hushovd, and he was on the ground for quite some time. Most of the riders did manage to get up and get themselves back into the main field. But at about 25 kilometers to go, David Miller said, right, I've had enough of this with these group and I'm going to go off alone. And he decided to forge alone and built up a lead at one stage of around about the 1 minute mark, and it would start to look as if he was going to win.
Last climb of the day, which is nearly 5 kilometers long, David Miller was still on his own, being chased by Ahmed Chiruka, who couldn't quite get up with him. But Chiruka was caught by Remy Poriol over the climb, making 2 chasing Miller. Armstrong and Contador's Astana team were chasing everybody, and they were catching everybody except David Miller. A massive crowd in Barcelona as the field swept up the 2 pursuers of Miller.
Well, they were caught in no man's land, and then it was just the whole of the main field trying to chase down David Miller. But in the outskirts of Barcelona, absolute and utter chaos as riders dropped like flies on the left and right-hand side of the road, made slippery by the rainy conditions and the white lines.
Laurens ten Dam of Rabobank, they all seem to be falling off this year in Rabobank, but this was far more serious as far as Tom Bonen was concerned. He was the first to go down in his Belgian champions jersey, and one of the last to get up as well. He's, in fact, as we speak, just this moment crossed the finishing line, so he's lost time today. The finishing line was good for some, and it wasn't good for David Miller. As we approach the right turn here, which takes you up towards the finish, the peloton looks to be about, I don't know, 40-45 riders from that shot, swept him up.
Just at around about the 1 kilometer to go mark, David Miller was back in the main field, but so too were one of the top sprinters in the world and nearly all of the top contenders in the overall classification. The last minute bursts came thick and fast, but the big sprinters waited, and it was Pipo Pozzato who opened up the sprint with about 300 meters to go.
There's Pozzato on the right in the red shorts there, hoping that he would win the stage, but he faded away very fast. And unfortunately, it put Frère in a bad position to win. He had to take the lead. Thor Hushovd came up from the back and presented us with a strong man's finish. The God of Thunder, stage win in history, number 7.
Well, Armstrong and Cancellara locked together, Phil, in that group, so no change overall.
So that's our Cadillac performance highlights. Now let's have a look at the stage result in full. Hushovd wins in 4 hours 21. Frère is second. Rojas from Case Depon. He's a good sprinter, actually. He got third. Cholik was in 4th place. He was the key man for Milram. Pelazzotti, interesting, he got 5th here. Might be in the action tomorrow on the Arcolis as well. Those are the top 5 on the stage. Let's have a look a bit further down. Pozzato made 6th. World champion Balan was in 7th. Cadel Evans, we saw him tackling everybody. He finished in 9th. And the yellow jersey of Fabian Cancellara in 10th. He made sure he was in the right place, that's for sure. I was looking for the name of Lance Armstrong in this lot, but we've got Andreas Klode and his teammate 11th, Nicholas Roach of Ireland there in 12th, and Andy Schlexie, fancied riders for long term, making sure they were at the front of the peloton.
Going a little bit further down, Cavendish managed to get himself a few points there, Phil. He must have struggled to get that 16th place. Hincapie using his experience in 18th, and Levi Leipheimer, again, one of the favourites for a good overall place at the end of this race, hanging in there in 20th.
Well, we're not seeing the name of Lance Armstrong. There is Contador in 23rd, but he was definitely in this group, and as you see, no time lost, and indeed no time gained.